Hey guys, what's going on? This is the newest update for you guys. So, like I said last time, I want to talk about some spell stuff. I want to talk about some turn-based stuff. And then we'll talk about some of the stuff I have down from playtesting, just that I have like on my note cards that I use for writing stuff down. Yeah, we'll go from there. I want to jump right into the spell stuff that I was talking about. So if this wants to be a party building type game, there's so many ideas around a game like this where it kind of melds multiple different games and game modes together. But one thing that I think would be pretty cool is that while you're building your enemy deck, you sort of have in mind that yes, they're enemies, like they're things that you're gonna fight, but also would it be neat if you're able to tame or befriend or whatever whoever you come in contact with. So you would be casting a spell that disarms them, befriends them, like it makes them friendly towards you enough that then you can make a interaction with them, where if you succeed on that, and it would, as of right now, I have it as would have to have an absolute success. So you'd have to roll and get higher on both rolls each time you do it, instead of like killing them and then putting them back in your enemy deck. You would now have them as a member of your party. I think it would be pretty neat if you could like sort of build a party around you based on what you face, like what you come up against. I want to make it hard to befriend enemies, but if you do, your strength is going to go up significantly because you're having more people that can attack during your turn. Simply just like in terms of games, increasing the amount of actions that you have on your turn will significantly change how successful you're going to be on your turns. So I think it would be pretty cool. I think, again, it's going to be a balancing nightmare probably, because I'll probably have to limit it to like, I don't know, three additional party members or two additional party members. It can't be one of those things where everything you come across you're taming. I can allow like the befriend spell to be used every combat, but you have to choose to replace one of the things you have befriended, and then it would just go back into your enemy deck, so that you could level up. Like you could, as you come across better enemies and level up in your spell dice increases. So I think it's at level 3 right now. Then you go up to a D6, and then at level 6 you go up to a D8, and so on. So as you level up, I think it would be interesting to be able to befriend things. And then again, just because I had mentioned new spells and utility spells along those lines, again, it could be where you add in, a taming spell, things that will buff your next attack or buff your next defense or whatever. Because right now, combat has been very magic heavy in terms of what kind of damage is getting through, and counterattacking has been really big. Enemies are getting a lot of damage through that way, as well as the players are getting a lot of damage through that way, through counterattacks. So that also might be something to lean into or look at to balance or whatever. So let's go to the idea of adding an enrage attack. So early on, it is very common to die. The players are dying usually if they select a combat, because of the way the enemy deck is. You're sort of planning, you want higher level stuff in there as well as lower level stuff. So you are dying pretty commonly. So then you lose that next turn. But early on, both people are dying. Like it's really uncommon for them to get really an easy creature to beat and then rolling well enough that they beat it. So it seems to be, there's even times where you get a combat event and I'm just not even doing the combat because I know how long it is. I'm basically electing to surrender. I change it to gaining half XP. So they just surrender. I give them the XP from the enemy, put it back in the deck, and then I change turns. As of right now, you do lose one of your actions on your next turn, and the one action you do have can't be combat. So it's basically the equivalent of you're back in town, kind of licking your wounds after going out and being defeated. You kind of drag yourself back to town, and spend your whole turn basically regaining. So then you gain your health, your vitality goes back to full, but you're unable to like do a ton of things around town. When with the shop and stuff like that, if you wanted to, once there's more than a shop, if I had like a mercenary thing or stables or whatever, you would be able to go participate in that kind of stuff and pay gold for those services. But it's not, you can't go adventure if you've died last turn. So yeah, it does slow things down a little bit, but I also think once you have, so think about Magic the Gathering. So in Magic the Gathering, early turns a lot of times are play my land, pass a turn, play my land, pass a turn, or play my land, play a mana dork and pass my turn. There's a little bit of setup involved with a lot of these games. So I think that's it's going to be okay. Like it's a new game, it's a new game to me. It's going to be a new game to whoever plays it. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, like, okay, the first few turns you're going out, you're getting beat up, you're getting a little bit of XP at a time, but so is your opponent, or so are your other opponents. They're also going through the trials and tribulations of becoming an adventurer and becoming a hero. So thematically, I don't hate it. I'm not like, oh, this feels so crappy, but I think it could probably be improved upon. But as of right now, it's not bad enough that I need to like go back to the drawing board. The thing with adding an enraged attack, which was kind of my next idea, would be that if you select to do an enraged attack, whenever you attack, you could also elect to do an enraged attack. That enraged attack would allow you to do double damage. So I had talked one time about maybe when you get an absolute success on an attack, being both numbers are higher than both of your opponent's numbers on the interaction, that you would do double damage. Well, instead, what if we do an enraged attack, and then you would do double damage? Just if you hit, the damage is doubled. And then they can still defend and everything. But if they get an absolute success and they are able to counter, they would do double damage to you for the counter. So like I said, the counter is already like doing a lot of damage to people. The counter for the enemies, the counter for the players, a counter attack seems to be like somewhat or like, you're really capitalizing on your enemies missing an attack, which I don't hate. I think it's pretty cool. But this would really expedite the process. I think it would make combat go a lot faster, because if you are say someone attacks you and you counterattack and now it's your turn, you might get 3 actions in a row that deal damage to your opponent and they're dead. So it does speed it up a little bit, and it would speed it up in both directions. And like I said, if you're dying a ton in the beginning anyway, if you go all out on a hit and you miss and they counter it, it's just going to speed up the process of you dying. If it's something where you want to stay close and go hit for hit and whatever, then it's probably not a good idea. But if you think you're going to die anyway, you enrage attack, and if you hit, then you're doing some damage. And if not, it's no big deal. It would allow you to maybe pull something off early game and then be real happy that now all of a sudden you have a gear, and if that gear is some sort of weapon, now you're off to the races, and it may be worth kind of duking it out in the early rounds. That being said, I don't hate the surrender mechanic where you're just basically saying like, I'm gonna lose, I'm good, I'll just choose to lose basically, instead of choosing to try to flee or whatever and just gain that XP and kind of live to fight another day kind of thing. The other thing I was noticing on turns when you draw your event cards, here I'll zoom in, I don't know how well you can see that on the recording. So So this is your hand. You get an event quest. So this would just be to defeat 2 humanoid enemies. The first to do it gets the reward. So basically gets to complete an extra. So you draw that and you play it, and then it stays on the quest board. So the first person to kill 2 humanoid enemies through their turns can happen whenever. It could happen next turn, or it could happen in 5 turns if no one's drawing humanoids, whatever. Goes on the quest board. Now, the thing that feels a little bit bad is if you're not the one that say you play your quest and that was your turn. So you draw your event cards, you play the quest card, and that's all you got for your turn. You pass the turn, and then they draw a card, just a regular combat event, and they get a humanoid. You're basically allowing them to get a turn ahead of you in experience, in gear, and whatever. Now, I don't know that it's going to shake out like that over time, but I was thinking of maybe allowing, if you have a quest, saying you can play 1 quest per turn. If you draw a quest card, you can play 1. So say you hit 2, you can only play 1. But in this instance, you would be able to say, play that quest card, and then also select what you want to do here. So do you want to do a multi-combat event, or looks like a PvP event card? So that's one thing that I was thinking, is it felt like when I was getting hands like this, most of the time, I'm most likely going to do the multi-event or the confrontation, like the PvP card, because it just doesn't feel worth putting a quest up if then I pass my turn. They get something that they're able to complete. They get the XP, and now it's my turn, and I'm down on XP, and now even if we keep pace for a while now, they're always going to be ahead of me in XP. Just a thought. I think maybe 1 quest card per turn might be a fair thing to say. The only other thing, real quick, because I know it's running a little bit longer. Another thing that I thought was, if you do get a multi-combat event so the multi-combat event, like both players fight that same enemy, just in different instances, where both players can elect to basically join forces and fight one version of that. But then the reward, so say this is just what I'm thinking as of now. So say they fight something that's pretty strong. They agree that they'll attack it together, which I think is cool, because you're kind of mixing the fact that it's a race and you want to outdo your opponent, but also, hey, it would be mutually beneficial if we actually kill this thing and get full experience or whatever. So then I was thinking, if one player dies during this encounter, then the other person, whoever survives, gets the full reward. And then if you both survive, then you would do a split or steal, I think it's called. You could split the reward 50-50, or you could steal it and get the full reward. If both people elect to steal it, then you both get nothing. If you both elect to split it, then you can split it. If one person steals and one person splits, then the person who steals obviously steals the full reward and the other person gets nothing. So it's just another player interaction thing, and then another way of interacting early game or late game with a enemy. So later on, it being hey, player 2, do you want to join me in this multi-combat? And then we can defeat this monster. Player 3 is way stronger than us. Do you want to sort of join forces? We'll probably kill it in less turns, and then we'll split the reward and they won't get it, or whatever. I think that's a fun new little wrinkle to add in that I haven't tried out yet. That being said, I am going to try to get somebody on with me to playtest. This will be my first playtest with somebody else. I'm hoping to get that done maybe this week. That would be really cool. I kind of feel like I got everything sort of up to speed with ideas and stuff like that for you guys. So I'm going to go to once a week uploading, just to keep you guys up to date. So hopefully next time I talk to you guys, I'll have done a play test with somebody else and was able to explain stuff to them and sort of tell you how that went. So keep commenting, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep doing all that stuff. It really helps out. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate your support as always, and I'll see you next time.